Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is the natural definition of sensorality? Sensorality is what sensorality is. Sensorality identifies sensorality. So in that same tone, in that same structure of logic, right, before we've derived, again, if you take the word sensory, S-E-N-S-O-R-Y, which is sensorality without the A-L-I-T, right, but a well-defined word currently. And so if you take away the letter Y representing the sound E and put the letter E where the sound E is, because E is E, and then you generalize, you get sensorality. And so then you have the complete word reality in senso acting as a prefix. And so when you say real recognizes real, and that's the exact same form of what we just derived, sensorality identifies sensorality, sensoriality recognizes sensoriality, real recognizes real. And so this whole time we've pointed that out at the beginning. That has a very poignant, just immediate application, that re and ality is a prefix and a suffix. There's no base. And it's a form, just a structure. It's a form of word. In the same way, it is what it is the structure of all language. Physics, linguistics are very literally just this irreducible sound of it is what it is. And so we've derived real recognizes real, but again, it's just a condensed, contracted form of sensorality is what sensorality is, directly, literally. And so that was at the forefront of my mind, again, emphasizing that this irreducibility of syllability, this world that we're born into, it's already structured and formalized as it is what it is. Moving through our derivation steps, maybe getting to Tim Gower's tweet thread. Sensorality stresses syllability. Again, when I'm speaking, I can never break all of these functions and demonstrations of language. You can't break it, right? It's already how you form sentences. And so when you stress a syllable, right, you're typically stressing the base, or what does stress have to do with base or basis? But you stress the base syllable or the base something. What is stress to pressure? Unfamiliarity is a liability. So that is a natural definition, direct iteration. Again, this ability, liability, replyability. But now we have, again, sensorality is what sensorality is we're explicitly showing identity, and then this unique differentiation which produces definition. But unfamiliarity spells out liar. And so, but then again, we can just take off the prefix. Liars are familiar. Natural definition, direct iteration, and it's also complete. And again, with this bounding, we have a complete word to begin the linguistic construction, a sentence, and then the end word is the same thing, right? Liar is liar, liars are familiar, but you start with the word liar and you end with the word liar. So that's like logical completion. So now again, we're getting this boundary of sensorality is what sensorality is, and then deriving through that, we get our stabilizing syllability. Identification recognizes. Sensorality is recognition, recognition. Sound is entropy, syllable is energy. Again, syllables have the capacity to do work, but it was just a natural extension, right? Last episode, sound, entropy is the base of language. Entropy is a word, or is sound, or sound is entropy, a form of entropy. You also have heat. But syllable, again, just pointing out you can have sounds that are not ordered, and then all syllables are ordered, are structured. Sound is entropy, syllable is energy. Sensorality filters familiarity. Natural definition, sensorality senses familiarity. This feels familiar. Déjà vu. Sensorality is liarity. Natural definition, direct iteration. Are liars lonely? What is lone? L-O-N-E. One is lone. Natural definition, direct iteration. Lonely, lovely. Alone is lonely. And that's again an explicit, what we've been calling natural definitions, we could be labeled them like identities, because it is what it is. I mean, that's the form of everything, and we have physical discreteness, independence. And that's what the linguistics, that's the physics, the linguistics is representing. But alone is lonely. Again, just very clear. Prefix to suffix is the only thing changing. The base lone, which isn't, right? You say the word lonely, but you don't really use the word lone, L-O-N-E, by itself. Again, worth pointing out. Solitary is alone. A loan is a debt. Sensorality is loanability. Responsibility, liability. In 2 episodes ago, we had responsa-liability, the ability to respond with a lie. What is responsibility to familiarity? Are liars responsible? Are syllables responsible? Is special familiar? Is differentiation consistent? Right? Are we just showing this again how language differentiates in general with a specific solution, sensorality? Is the way things change the same? Sensorality is constitution, right? Constituent to constitution, emphasizing that E and A relationship. Right? You go into politics, you talk about our representatives and their constituents, right? Constitution. What is constitution to constitution? Constitution, constituents. A constituent is a fraction. What is consent to participation? Voice crack again, nice. What is participation to precipitation? Consequentiality precipitates. What is familiarity to fairness? Is lying fair? Fair is far, natural definition, direct iteration. Far off is a long shot. Fundamental theorem of physics, discoloration is distortion. Sensorality is discolorationality. Sensorality is dislocationality. Dislocation is misplaced. Mistake, misplace. What is trial to distribution? Trial distributes justice. Justice is good, emphasizing the order of the J in the G or the J in the J. The J, 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 Wentworth, cash now. And it was good. I've heard that in a book before. But justice, and it was good. Justice is fair. Ice, justice. What is justice to adjustment? What is momentum to adjustment? An adjustment is a change. Right, momentum, acceleration, change of velocity or change of direction. Adjustment is a change. An adjustment is a modification. What is modification to vibration? What is mode to modify? Right, sensorality modifies or modifies. Mode, modify, modify. Sensorality notifies. Sensation is notification. Natural definition, direct iteration. Right? Your senses notify you of information. Ah, there's a loud noise. Ah, that's hot. Ah, that's completely fucking illegal, but no one cares because we're all pathetic criminals. Oh, how convenient. We're just going to lie, cheat, and steal and facilitate the death and destruction of kids all over the globe. But, you know, the Patriots on. Scotty Scheffler's probably about 6 under by now. So, again, Scotty Scheffler's like 3 years younger than me, making millions of dollars every weekend, and my mom cheers on Scotty Scheffler, but not Brad. That's fun. Because, again, I'm not a real adult yet, or ever. That's the fun part about being scapegoated in a community with no values at all, is you just realize, like, by the age of 12 is, like, the day when it's your turn to be treated with dignity and respect is just never. So that's always fun stuff. But sensation is notification. What is a notification to a modification? What is modification to identification? What is identification to indemnification? Sensorality is identifiality. Sensorality is fidelity. Fidelity is delightful. Serendipity is delightful. Something with serendipity keeps popping up. Again, I'm using that very naturally. But again, just like the seren, and then I have to think about it, pity is like how it ends, like the D to P to T. Consonants is another weird one. Fidelity is delightful, sensational is delightful, sensation is mindful. Another thing that just came to mind is, again, when there are no bad words, right? Bad words are perversions. Sensorality is dreadful, sensorality is unbearable, unbearability is the inability to be a bear. Natural definition, direct iteration, emphasizing that unbearable is spelled like the base of a bear, like an oso, like a bear out in the woods. Not I'm bare naked, like B-A-R-E, it's B-E-A-R. So obviously those are both direct iterations of one another, but worth pointing out. That is where I finished with the derivation in the afternoon, and so I feel like this is short enough, might as well go over this Tim Gowers tweet thread. So this came up to me. Again, I follow the mathematics community, even though I'm not allowed in it, even though I'm the only one that has ever done a proof, right? Proof is proof. It is this rooting to identity. There is no other proof. And so, again, I'm the only mathematician, but I got kicked out of society, and I'm not allowed to have a career and a family. You've destroyed my health, my property. But, again, just the overall behavior. Right? Tim Gowers, I saw him on the SARE project with Terrence Teow and all of our hardworking founders and capitalists like Sergey Brin, who owns Google and YouTube, who I'm definitely suing, because not only does he own Google and YouTube, he's hosting the Breakthrough Prize, where we're, again, going to award the most needed or cool or real progression in fundamental physics, mathematics, life sciences every year, and I still haven't won that, so that's just complete fucking fraud. But again, a lot of words to say. I have no respect for these people whatsoever, but mathematics is mathematics, research is research. I am the only figure that is doing anything in here, so I have to interact with this criminal community called academia every once in a while. And so they're kind of figuring out, what is this role with AI, right? What do we do? Because we don't actually, right, we start off our mathematical proofs by saying, let this equal a cohomology force sphere on Caleb-Yau manifold inverted. And it's just like, what in the fuck is that? Right? Here's a thing. It's a phone, right? That's a differentiation. That's a definition. Pretty clear stuff. And so, but seriously, I mean, everything I'm saying is serious, but none of these people have like ever done a proof. Society in its entirety has never done mathematical proof. You go and say, what's the basis of mathematics? And then we say, we don't know. And it's just clearly thematics. It's just right there in front of you. What's going on in physics? Again, the whole motivation to saying, you know, if we can unify the forces, then we've unified physics. And it's just like, look at all of this nuance. Again, it's just fraud everywhere. There's no point to try to respond to anything. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution. This is first principle science. This is proven. This is appreciated. Anyone can appreciate it. It's already been transmitted. Why the fuck we're still doing this game, I have no idea. So this fraudulent enterprise called academia is trying to figure out, hey, what do we do for mathematics? Or again, what is specifically, how competent can AI get? Again, you can't, human beings are working memory. Life is working memory. You're not going to have technology outpace that. Categorically not possible. Wasn't possible in Y2K a whole 26 years ago. It's not possible now. It's not going to be possible in a million years, a billion years, ever. And so we're freaking out. The AI is going to come steal all of our mathematics jobs. And so Tim Gowers, who is a criminal, tweets, but the too long didn't read version is that the model proved a result that in my assessment would have made a perfectly reasonable chapter in a PhD thesis. So let's stop you right there. We have Tim Gowers, who has a job that happens to be some domain where we say math, science, and physics and academia, and that's part of his identity. And so Tim Gowers thinks that he is a mathematician. Again, he is not, he is a criminal. And so by his assessment, it'd be perfectly reasonable for a chapter in a PhD thesis. Again, nobody that has ever gotten a PhD in mathematics has ever proven anything in mathematics completely. Period, end of story. So what they classify as complete enough or convincing enough to be a proof, genuinely in its holistic sense, I don't know. I would have to see what people are talking about, because when I was a student, quote unquote, I've never been a student, I've been articulating fundamental research before I was going to preschool. And so what they have accepted as proof is just like, I don't know. I just have not, no. And so Tim Gower is saying this is a perfectly reasonable chapter in a PhD thesis. Again, there should in research, there should be, these people are doing actual novel shit or have proved actual novel shit, which at current time, and I think will only be me. Frankly, that's just what it is. But then there should be some sort of classification where you have enough mastery, where you get a gold little star, and even the people that have PhDs in astrophysics still don't get to open their mouth and talk about the shit about physics. Because what I'm doing is, again, is a proof. And you guys can't even articulate the proof back to me, or to anybody. And so to talk about theory, you guys just fuck it up immediately. And I don't remember any of this stuff, right? This is all active derivation every single day. I just read the theorems that I wrote down because I'm developing property, which again, Tatiana Toro and the MSRI damaged the actual physical hand derivation, which again is a demonstration of a limit in a consolidation structure languages, right? You would have to restart English, the alphabet, to ever get the same unique sequence, regardless if Brad wrote it down, Terence Tao wrote it down, whoever. This is the most dense mathematical documentation that has ever existed, and it was damaged by Tatiana Toro, MSRI, after I've been sending David Eisenbud, the previous director, documents and, again, research for years. So that's the most, again, profound financial damage directly there. But still, again, that's profound. This world is disgusting. But to something to strike Timothy Gowers as perfectly reasonable, yeah, that means absolutely nothing to me. Is this, again, proof is proof. You guys are nowhere in the same realm, universe as to ever demonstrating a complete proof. I'm sure there is some actual acceptable level of what you guys calling proof. I would also agree with his proof. But at current times, again, you guys don't do math. You just don't even know what it is. But Timothy Gowers, or the whole academic community right now, saying this is a perfectly reasonable PhD thesis. Again, what within the structure of who gets PhDs today, in my opinion, is profoundly too many people. Just profoundly too many people. But again, we have this business structure, this compete. You know, again, Sean Carroll's over in Baltimore, right? Or Reality, the Orioles, right? That's over by Hopkins, Baltimore Orioles, baby. But again, this commenting on this overall, oh, you know, it's one of the best schools. Oh, it's the Ivy League, right? It's not the best. Okay, what's the best school of Ivy League? We're going to probably say Harvard, right? Well, MIT is a great school, but it's not in the Ivy League. And so we just have this like arbitrary prestige level of like T5, top 5 schools, or R1 schools. And it's just like nobody knows how to do fucking anything. Nobody's proven anything in math ever besides Brad, actually. And so just this prestige level is hilariously stupid. But I think the issuance of PhDs is profoundly too much, or there should be a huge, massive step up to get like credentiality for what you guys would call tenureship, right? Even if you have a career job at an academic institution, you have never proven anything yourself, actually. Like, it's just like, it's insane. And so he continues, again, that's just the first response, is what establishes legitimate PhD material is I'm not satisfied in any way with how it's articulated. Again, I literally got scapegoated for doing actual science. I mean, we're at the very beginning of like, holy fuck, this is a problem. He continues, it did this in a total of a couple hours with a few prompts from me that contained no mathematical input whatsoever. Again, once again demonstrating complete illiteracy. No mathematical input. Are you articulating language or order in any capacity? Rhythm. That is mathematical. That is thematical. Right? Themes are order. They recur. And so again, he's just again direct projection. And this is, you know, when you're your top mathematicians at Harvard. I went to Cambridge. I went to Cambridge, then I went to MIT, then I went over to Sean Carroll, Caltech. Now Caltech, or Sean Carroll went over to, you know, Hopkins, bro. One of the sickest schools, one of the best. Just Hopkins, bro. Yeah, dude. And then Timothy Gowers is saying, you know, I did no mathematical input whatsoever. The whole fucking point of research is asking the right question. That is literally what we're doing in our derivation, is progressing linguistics to have this self-contained question that is trivially to answer itself. And so asking the right question as is 10 years ago, before anyone knew who Brad was saying, you know, the right thing to do in research is ask the right question, which is true. And so when he says that I just asked it a few questions and prompted it a little bit, and that was not mathematical input, that's like saying there's a cow. I didn't see a cow today. Like, what the fuck are you saying? It is directly contradictory at face value. The purpose of research is finding the right question to ask. You guys have never seen completion, which again, you see all of the theorems we're working through, and at no point in the self-containment of this logic, it proliferates so fast. Going from even a complete proof to a completely reduced proof is what I'm doing, which is provably the highest level of analysis that could exist. It's only completion is completion, is worlds and worlds and worlds past what I've ever seen anybody in recorded history begin to start to do. And so, again, you guys just have no idea about the gradations. Again, like the different, I just use it myself. But you guys don't know what math is. You just straight up, academia is fraudulent to the point where here's the law. I am more a law guy to academia than I am a mathematician or a physicist. You guys are so incompetent and pathetic. Just go watch them. Like, I just watched a Harvard math department video, and it's just like this goofy old guy, and he's like with a lisp, and he's like, when I got to Harvard, I thought I'd be a little outsider, right? But I'm not. I deserve to be a mathematician too. And it's just this like weird, like extremely emotionally underdeveloped like identity crisis. And it's like, this is like the most fundamental important shit ever. Yeah, so academia has failed. Here is the law. Enforce that. If not, you guys have no role whatsoever in terms of the administration of science. You're just criminals. And then he tweets back to him, like, it's his tweet thread. All I did was say things like, yes, it would be great if you could explore that idea and see whether you can get it to work. Or could you rewrite that argument as a LaTeX file in the style of a standard mathematical preprint? So again, any sort of prompting is direction, is again, your computers are not going to take, life is working memory. But could you explore that idea and see if you could get it to work? Again, I would have to see the exact, what is he typing into here? But again, this guy is not a mathematician. He continues, of course, this raises all sorts of questions about what is going to happen to mathematical research with the impact on PhD students being particularly urgent. We got a little barky break. What's up, buddy? Come on in. And so again, I don't have an office, but that's fine. We like the dog more than Tim Gowers. And so he says, he's in here. Tim Gowers says, again, of course, this raises all sorts of questions about what is going to happen to mathematical research, with the impact on PhD students being particularly urgent. I give a few thoughts on this in the blog post, but I don't have anything like complete answers. Ha! Yep, see, he says he's never did completion, right there in his own words. But again, mathematics, getting a PhD in mathematics, again, what you guys call pure mathematics, which for whatever reason is like the circle jerk, I'm the cool, smart person, I want to be a pure mathematician. Words have meaning. You can go start deriving it right now yourself. You see how big and how many steps you have to make? I mean, huge proofing steps are absolutely trivial. But we don't need to have this, again, there's this societal phenomenon of wanting to be a pure mathematician. And the bar has been set. And you guys are not even in the same universe. But we don't, again, the issuance of PhDs is too proliferate. So no, we don't, again, to me, this is more of a responsibility of a student going into a job market, right? Hey, I'm going to get this degree, then what? Right? We should raise our kids to know how society functions, and people are taught that schools are this great thing, and it's like, if you don't have the chops to do this research, it's just like, but I want to be a PhD, it's like too fucking bad. And so what are PhD students going to do? They should be taught and educated their entire lives to, again, you can't choose market dynamics. And there's just this societal good pat on your back feeling, I'm going to be a mathematician, I'm going to be a scientist. It's like, you need to make money, which I can't do because of fucking crime. So if you have the privilege to be able to choose a major, go to one of these huge institutions and sit around all day It's just like, go make the money, and then you can do, like, again, just get some money, and then you can go post whatever videos you want on YouTube and do the math then. But specifically to mathematics, what people call pure mathematics, the bar has been set. Again, if somebody wanted to start doing a derivation, it would be so clear the competency you would have to demonstrate to start. And so all of you people are applied mathematicians, because mathematics is bounded by physics. And the axiomatization is only one way. and I've already derived it through the, again, immediate linguistic consequence, which again, academia in its whole has never even made one meaningful progress in linguistics ever. And so it's just like pure mathematics is closed, not by me saying it, because you guys are not competent. But just PhDs in general, again, that's fine if you go through a curriculum. It's just, to me, having a dissertation is novel research. And part of that novelty, it has to be meaningful or useful. And that is just, academia has skewed because of this, let's feel good, let's take the most important aspect of our society, education, and make it some sort of pity party karma bullshit so people can feel good about themselves. I was a math student. I went through the whole education system. I got scapegoated by a community of people as an instinctual reaction to actual scientific discovery. It's like the behavior is not present to do research, which is so fucking weird to say out loud. But again, there's just this prestige, this desire to have a PhD. I reached the pinnacle of research, and you guys are not even in the same fucking universe. And so it's like, grow up is kind of my response. Look at the market environment and say, hey, how do I live a life? Nobody really cares if they get a PhD. Nobody really cares if they do this or they do that. People, what you want is just to have a career and a family. I mean, that's what anybody wants. If it's not, it's because you're so privileged that you don't even know what you want. But life is not some big complicated process. People are born with different capacities. And luckily for me, I never got to use it. I got no personal direct benefit. I still don't have the ability to eat, sleep, and do research, like at all. And I'm the person that absolutely can do what is quote unquote pure mathematics. I'm the only person, ever. Because again, the proliferation of how big this proving gets, like you see how much stuff I'm doing now, and this is as tight as it possibly can be. And it's a feeling. Like there's no, I don't need any, I'm just, it's just a very, very direct physical realization. But he continues, but if AI mathematics continues to progress at anything like its current rate, which is what I expect to happen, then we will face a crisis very soon. And mathematics departments who owe a duty of care to their students should be urgently preparing for it. Again, then we're right back to the incompleteness theorem. There are infinitely many more things that just by doing this derivation, all of these questions that I just pose and move on, those are all like open questions or fundamental differentiations. Geometrical linguistics is a whole branch of geometry proper not identified. So it's again, the point is to ask the right question. If this doesn't stimulate, what I do does not stimulate anything in your brain, and it's like, again, you guys, you're at the point where we're at this bridge. You have to acknowledge my research publicly or nothing can move forward, actually. And you guys are just too stupid and too pathetic to care. It's this, I've been saying the same thing my entire life. And so a crisis in what? If you can't find a good question to ask or develop your intuition to have a question, that is what research is. And so now specifically to AI solving problems. So now again, remember what we've talked about before in this, what really is a metaphor and what really is an analogy. And so computers can't think. They just amalgamate information. Y2K was 26 years ago. Life in its entirety. I mean, you guys don't get how stupid, profoundly stupid of a statement it is to think like technology and any capacity, any manifestation can outpace life when life is the technology of the universe. And so I'm not going to spend any time on that. You see it about every 5 seconds. But we don't need to pat people on the back. If you can't do research, that's just too bad. Posing a good, so the metaphor and so if I'm sitting over here, let's say I'm in, I don't know, cohomology, topology, algebraic combinatorics, and I'm trying to articulate a problem, right? I'm trying to figure out the question I'm trying to ask. and now somebody over there is in linear algebra, and they're trying to figure out what their question they're trying to ask. They could be using all of the wrong words, literally all of the wrong words, or some of the right words, or some combination. But the intuition, that person thinking, putting those words in order, is the knowledge, is the information generation. So when you're watching computers solve other problems, or hey, can you try this, hey, can you try that, and then it's searching all of the data that has been articulated into database, into these data centers, our agentic workflows going crazy. But it's this metaphoricality, this gradation of specificity and generality where these computers are identifying logic that are human produced. Sentience has produced this in a different context, and the computer is smushing that together. It's not doing analysis. It can't. And again, it's such a stupid proposition to think that you can have computers outpace life when life is in every way, shape, and form the quote-unquote technology. Again, technology is built on knowledge, which is built on know, the ability to say not that, to differentiate. And so that is what I wanted to, but when he says we will face a crisis very soon, it's like, what do you think you're going to solve all of mathematics? Professor Gowers, what about the incompleteness theorem? What about the set of all things? You answer one question and it poses 10 more, right? That's the incompleteness theorem. You complete one thing to get to that completion. You've opened up so many more doors and avenues and things. I've personally just skipped over an entire chunk of geometry proper. So what crisis? Right? You can't do research. And so again, it's just, and then he even had again, he's part of this SARE project with Terence Teo. Again, they're all criminals. Everybody in the academic community has been aware of my work. And they all wanted to compete. You guys all wanted to compete. And it's like, here's pure math. Who's up next, guys? Oh, that's right. You guys are just arrogant idiots in the competency, the comprehensivity you need to do this. You would need to be without hesitation. Again, the entirety of math, physics, and linguistics completely left foot, right foot, upside down, 360 backflips, anything you could want provable when it needs proven as is, it wouldn't even be a problem. But you would also have to, again, have exposure and understanding of law ontology, which again, still isn't known, right? So law, history, you would have to have functional engineering, even the stuff that's classified. You'd have to have working understanding, because getting to this derivation, it's refining. It is what it is entirely, but you have to have so much working memory and knowledge. You would have to self-classify and prove, hey, I'm an expert at all of ontology. Not just physics or math or history or computer science. It's just, this is a competency level of derivation that I can demonstrate without question, without thinking, without anything to start. And then it's a 7-year reduction process because the information doesn't exist yet. You're constantly renormalizing linguistics to logic every day, constantly, all day. And you would demonstrate that capacity, or you would not even be able to begin to, you would provably not be able to do a complete proof. A complete proof, not even a reduced proof. And the reduced proof is the part, again, you have historical evidence of people saying, the law office of God, and look how important and prolific, the spreading of that awareness is. And that's not a reduced proof. That is towards completion, or a substantial movement towards completion, or a comprehensive structure where it's this could be reduced. But speciality is special with an ITY. I don't see that in history. That's where you end, that's where you start the next one. That's where sensorality began. And it's very clear on a personal level. It's just, this is an inevitably repeatable process for me, because I don't think about anything. This is just, I just sit down and tell you how this shit works, and it's sentience is this actively evolving thing. And so, again, there's not a crisis in mathematics. You guys cannot do mathematics. What is the amount of PhDs issues is a huge problem. Or if we're going to keep the PhD structure as is, there needs to be a substantial jump up to, again, novel proofing, which at current time is only me. And then certainly a level of hey, this person has competency to discuss what you guys would call theory, or the overall just presentation. Again, fuck him, he's going to jail, but Sean Carroll has a good overview. When I hear him talk, it's definitely a criminal, but he has a good enough understanding where it's hey, this guy can talk about physics, and besides that, part of that is a huge bitch. He discusses physics well. And so I don't know if it's personally me giving you a gold star, but at this time I'm never going to get into society. And so proofing speaks for itself. If you can do a proof, the proof is what it is. Or you guys could not even articulate the steps. And this is a one-way unique derivation. There would be no point to rederive sensorality. Once we produce this new word form, you would just derive that thing. Because again, it's a demonstration of the structure of all language. Sensorality is not a word. And so yeah, I made that whole video of like what I think is like meaningful differentiations in academia. And what Timothy Gowers demonstrates is he's not a mathematician. He has no idea what mathematics is. He has no idea what happens when a computer is solving a mathematics problem. Posing the right question is the entirety of research. And it's just, again, the blind leading the blind, the pathetic people being like, we're going to have this crisis of PhD students. Again, academia shouldn't be committing fraud, Timothy. You said it correctly. You have an obligation to not pull in a grad student when all of mathematics is solved, when all of fundamental physics and the engineering applications are classified. Yep, go work on condensed matter. You don't have the material you need to sustain this dynamic that lines up with the magnetic field lines. And then the motion, they release it on the news, and it's the fucking Pentagon, and still the stupid Americans like, that's not convincing. They're jiggling around all funny. It's like, yeah, because you're not used to seeing this motion. And so it's just like, even again, a duck, if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, is definitely a duck. It's been confirmed by the environment and the zoologist, and there's 8K resolution of a duck, and then there's genetic testing that it's a duck, and it's definitely a duck. People will still be like, I'm not sure. And so you just have a base level of profound scientific incompetence where people don't even have the ability to say, hey, this is legitimate, hey, this is illegitimate. When again, the scientific process in its entirety has been demonstrated publicly. And so, again, for years and years and years at this point, I've just been, here is the law, you're breaking it. There's no point for me to convince anybody of anything. And it's not like I'm trying to break into society. I just want my money to live my life, which never seems possible. So that is what I have for right now. Finally got to that little tweet thread. Again, my rights continue to be violated. It destroyed my health. It has destroyed my ability to have any potential for a career and a family. Nobody cares. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.